Okay guys, I've got another review video on a new locomotive I just acquired. This is an MTH Proto 3. It's the Union Pacific 412-2 number 9002 locomotive. So I thought I would do an unboxing along with the review. So let's get started with the unboxing. So I ordered this engine several weeks ago. I ordered it from Mario's Trains in Maryland, and I ordered it from the 2019 Volume 2 catalog from MTH. And I thought, you know, I know when you order something, it takes a while to get it. I figured I wasn't going to get this till next year. And then I got the notice from Mario's that my order was in. And what I realized was I know that MTH released this engine in their last year's catalog, in their 2018 catalog. I'm not sure if it was Volume 1 or Volume 2. And they must have had this in stock from the 2018 catalog, and they just decided to send it to me. So this engine, I thought I was only going to get it next year. I got it now, so that was a pleasant surprise. I also ordered another MTH engine, a U30C in UP colors, and I ordered that from another retailer several weeks ago, and to my surprise, I received that engine in the mail on the exact same day I received this engine. So I got two engines in the mail on the same day. So it was, it's like Christmas all over again. So this is my first MTH steam engine and my second MTH engine. I have, of course, the U50C, which I love. So here it is. Get this out of the way. Be interesting to see. I'm not used to how they package these. See, the lighting's not very good, but there it is. 412-2 9000 series steam engine. Looks like the top is this way. Here's the literature that comes with it. Here it is. Turn it around this way. You use the ribbons to pull it out. Some instructions for the drawbar. We'll have to look at that. There's some extra traction tires and a dummy coupler if you want to do a double header. And there it is. It's a big engine. Nice looking 9002 on the side. And a tender over here. This is the tender. That ladder's a little warped on the side there. Alrighty, so up next I will do a short review and running section. Okay, I'm going to start off this review talking about the history of this engine in particular. Then I'll be talking about the details of the engine and then doing a short running session. So this locomotive was built by Alco, and it was built specifically for the Union Pacific. One of the unique features, other than it having a particularly long wheelbase, was that it carried a third cylinder that connected to the second drive wheel. Union Pacific ordered 88 of these, and they were built between 1926 and 1930. The engine was meant for fast freight, and it was popular with the railroad, but it was kind of a maintenance nightmare because of the third cylinder. The length of the locomotive was 102 feet 7 inches, and it had a 97,664 pounds of tractive effort. This particular engine, the 9002, was built in 1926. So this particular engine by MTH was released in last year's catalog. Like I said earlier, I'm not sure what volume, but MTH has re-released it in their 2019 Volume 2 catalog. To give you the physical dimensions of this engine, the length of it, including the couplers, is about 27 inches. And the weight of the locomotive and the tender is about 12 pounds 6 ounces. So it's a pretty good, it's got some pretty good weight to it, which is, as we know, the more weight, the better pulling power. Starting with the front of the locomotive, you've got the scale coupler in the front, and there's the cutoff bar that actually is connected via a little chain right here. I know it's a little hard to see because it's all dark, but there's a bar here that lifts up and down, and it's actually connected to the coupler. Now you can replace this coupler with a functioning coupler if you want to do a double header, because this is just a scale coupler for looks. And then you've got some impressive piping here that runs around. You've got the number board. You've got the headlight, the bell that rotates if you push on it. You've got the 2 marker lights on either side. You've got the grab irons that start here and run all the way the length of the boiler of the engine on both sides. They're individually applied. And you've got the number boards that light up also. And then on top you've got the smokestack, and if you guys know that MTH is kind of known for having impressive smoke units on their engines, that they generate a lot of smoke, and I'm a big fan of smoke in particular, so I like keeping the smoke on high. But on this engine, when you run the engine a certain speed, it actually puffs rings of smoke. Now, one of the other impressive things about the front of this locomotive is that this bar right here, I don't know if you can see it, there's a bar right here that actually moves back and forth with the as the rods are running back and forth as the engine moves forward. This bar kind of moves a little bit, and I will attempt to show that when I'm running the engine around the layout, which is that's a nice added feature of giving it some additional motion while it's moving. Okay, here's a close-up of the builder's plate. The detail is pretty nice. Okay, the side shot, you've got some real nice detail. You've got piping here that runs along the whole length of the locomotive. You've got all the rods. You've got the 6 driving wheels here, 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 and here. The first driving wheel and the second to last driving wheel actually have flanges, and all the other wheels do not have flanges, and MTH does that so this engine can operate on the minimum curve radius of 0.72. Underneath here, you can't see it. They actually have the piston that turns as the engine's running, and what I'll do is I'll try to get a shot of that while the engine is running, so you can see the piston that's connected to the second drive wheel right here. There's a little bit of writing here, and then you've got the firebox here. Okay, here's a little bit better shot of the cab. You can see the engineer figure right here, the nice lettering, the 9002, and that it gives the UP lettering down here. I like these in particular. These red handles really stand out right here and here, and then you've got the hoses and pipes, and there's like a drain down here, and then more hoses that run all the way along here. Really nice detail work. Looking at the top of the locomotive, you've got the sand dome right here, and in particular, it's nice, all the piping for the to each of the drive wheels. You can see the piping is actually, it's not molded in, it's actually separate. It's a separate pipe that goes all the way back, which is a really nice detailed feature. And then you've got the grab irons that run the whole length of the locomotive. They go this way. Then you've got the steam dome up here, some release valves here. Okay, continuing with the back, overlooking the cab, you've got the whistle here. You've got the grab irons on either side. These hatches up top actually open. You can push them closed and they open. You can just lift them up, which is a nice detail. And the windows to the cab open. They slide open and closed. I don't know if you can see that. You can see the engineer figure on the side. Looking inside the cab, you've got the fireman that's on the left here, which is really nice. Then you've got all the red valves. They're labeled red. I don't know if you can see it. And this part right here actually glows when the power is on, and I will try to show that when I power up the engine. The firebox actually glows. There's more, I don't think you can see it, there's more valves up here. There's a gauge up here, which you can't see. But the detail is really, really nice. I like the engineer and the fireman. The detail is nice. He's got a little cap on, a red shirt with some overalls. Really, really nice. All right, continuing with the tender. The detail is real nice on the tender also. In particular, which I thought was very impressive, I don't know if you can see this, there's a chain right here that comes down and attaches to the side of the forward truck. I think is really nice. Actually, there's another one right here. Right there. And then the rivet work is very nice all along here. You've got grab irons here that are individually applied. You've got a ladder here. It's a little bit, I don't know if you can see that, it's a little bit bent The ladder, that's just from being in the packaging. The ladder here is a little distorted. You've got another grab iron here that's individually applied with some more ladders. Looking at the top of the tender, you've got the coal load, which just actually isn't real coal. You've got 3 hatches here that open, and 2 of them actually have a function. One is for smoke and one is for the master volume that you can turn up and down. And there's the master smoke adjustment in one of them. And each hatch, you can close them. They're a little tricky to open, but this third one up front is just, there's nothing in it, it's just empty. Looking at the back of the tender, you've got the light that comes on when the engine is in reverse. You've got the rear marker light. It has the UP9002 with a grab iron right below it. You've got 2 ladders on either side. And then down here, you've got the water capacity. It says 18,000 gallons where the water is kept. Okay, I wanted to give you guys an underside view of the locomotive. Like I said before, you've got the forward set of wheels and the second to last set of wheels have flanges on them. The traction tires are on these wheels also. You've got 2 pickup rollers here and here. And then what's unique here is the 3rd cylinder crank that actually spins around with this wheel, which is a nice detail feature. Let me try to zoom in on that. You can see that right here. This part spins around, and I will attempt to show that to you when I'm running the locomotive. Okay, here's the underside of the tender. You've got the trucks here, of course. You've got the pickup tabs that pick up the signal from the rails right here. You've actually got some switches here in the middle. Let me try to zoom in on that. No, I can't really zoom in on that, but there's 2 switches. One says DCC to DCS, and one says 2-rail, 3-rail. That you can switch between if you want to run DCC or if you want to run on 2-rail. You switch between 2-rail and 3-rail. Over here is the speaker. So I just wanted to give you guys a view of the drawbar. It's one of the frustrating things about this locomotive, connecting it. So there's a bar on the underside of the tender that actually goes through this hole right here. And you have to push this, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little metal rod that you have to push to the side that you have to have it push to the side as you're threading this through the rod on the tender. And then there's a 6-pin connector here. It's a male connector that has to connect up into a female connector that's on the tender. So you have to, once you get the pin inside this hole here, then you have to push this drawbar up to connect it to the female connector, which is a little bit tedious. And I think that's probably the biggest drawback of this locomotive, at least for me. It's tedious to connect the tender and the engine together. Okay, in particular, I just wanted to show you guys where the drawbar connects to the tender. Right here is that rod I was talking about. And then right here is the female connector of those 6 pins that you have to push the 6 pins into this female connector right here. So you got to make sure you have a good connection or the locomotive won't operate correctly. Overall, I'm really pleased with this engine. I think MTH really did an over-the-top effort on giving it a lot of detail. But the only drawback that I'm not too happy about is the drawbar connection between the tender and the locomotive. You have to, like I said before, you have to push the pin out of the way, and it's got to be pressed up against the rod that's on the tender. But then you have to push the pin connector, the female end, into the male end that's underneath the tender, and it's a little tricky getting it connected. And I'd say that's probably the only drawback. I think that MTH should have made a wireless tether that Lionel makes on their locomotives, and it makes things a little tedious when you have to connect the tender and the locomotive together every time. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.